I should probably start. World news. This week, Naomi Osaka pulled out of the French Open because officials were forcing her to speak with the press after her matches. And she decided, I'm just going to focus on my mental health. I don't understand. What is it with these tennis officials? They are mad because Naomi, after playing her heart out, doesn't want to be harassed by reporters. I mean, why should she? She's an athlete, not a press secretary. The only sport where I demand to hear athletes talk before and after each match is professional wrestling. Unless Naomi is going to be allowed to beat whoever the French Open's Vince McMahon equivalent is with a steel folding chair, guys, just save it. Leave it to the French to try to stifle Haitian greatness. Not today, France. Leave Naomi alone. Also, are these the same people who got mad at Serena Williams for not wearing a white, pointlessly short skirt like a problematic fetish on the dark side of the internet? No one is making men wear pom-pom shorts and then saying, if you want to wear something else, you're not respecting tradition. I'm beginning to think that France may have an issue with black people. After a recent census revealed a steep decline in birth rates, China has once again revisited its 1970s one-child policy. Back then, math worked differently since it never occurred to them that if two people have one child, that would probably reduce the size of the following generation. It was that, or the guy working on the population size department didn't talk to the guy from cheap human labor becoming the cornerstone of our economy ministry. China is like that parent who spent a decade and a half telling you not to get pregnant. And then when you turn 30, they're like, so when you could give me a grandchild, you ain't gonna be young forever, you know. Who could join the labor force when you retire to prevent the collapse of the economy? Because if we have more people collecting pension than we can, that could be a fiscal problem. In fact, if you take into account China's refusal to admit its faults, the general distrust for Muslims, and its early denial of COVID, China is a Bahamian mother. Finally, the NFL has promised to stop using race norming when it comes to reviewing concussion claims by black players. But you may say, hey Schin, I've just poured a fresh bowl of cereal. Is this going to make me salty? Yes. Yes, it will. So, race norming was the practice of adjusting aptitude test scores based on the ethnicity of the test subjects, which of course is an oversimplified attempt to adjust for larger systemic inefficiencies like poverty and educational funding. What the NFL did was they said, hey, why not take this poor attempt to address racism and make it racist? So, they used the practice of race norming to claim that all black players were not as smart as their white counterparts in the first place. So, when a black person who suffered a concussion and may have even had proof of the effects went to the NFL, they were like, well, they black, so maybe they never had a lot of brain in their head in the first place. Because racism is capitalism with more steps. So, not only does the NFL not really care about police brutality and may only care about players standing for the American national anthem because the Department of Defense is paying them to increase military recruitment, and they don't care about the life-changing, if not life-ending injuries that players sustain while making the organization and the owners millions of dollars. Until recently, they were not above using race-based tomfoolery to save money. Is this why, although 68% of the NFL is black, only 25% of them have the prestigious position of quarterback? Because you don't think we're smart enough? You know, someone should form like a player-owned league and then just leave the NFL to Tom Brady and Brett Favre. And let's see how interesting that is. And now for our summer sweat section. I know what you're thinking. Oh, great. More of Schin flopping and flailing about in wet clothes. Yeah, when I get this Jones body, ain't nobody can be able to talk to me. You know, when I was younger, I feel like I was sprightly, that I had way more spunk and elasticity and flexibility. But I've lost some of that, the sweet procession towards death. So I decided to go back to evolve and try out this class. What is this class exactly?
So we teach capoeira at Evolve. It is an Afro-Brazilian martial art founded and rooted in Brazil with a deep-rooted background in slavery, but it is a martial art that blends history, culture, music, all into a very dynamic movement that anybody in all different age groups can really pick up and learn and build.
I feel like you're underselling how complicated it gets. It gets complicated.
Well, I mean, if you really look at all the foundational moves of capoeira, there's only really a few moves, but I think what makes it complicated and what makes it beautiful is that combination of those moves and how complex it could get in terms of a dialogue that you would have with another capoeirista, like a player in the roda, which is that circle which you see with people playing games. And usually people's training styles.
We got 3 minutes. It's not. Yeah, it's not a full. Yeah, if a person might be interested in this, what do they need, and how can they get started?
Oh yeah, if you're interested in this class, all you really need is to come through the door. Capoeira is for all ages and all different shapes and sizes. It's just a very dynamic art that anybody could get into, and you can learn your own flow and your own movement over time. So all you really need to do is to come to class. You don't even need shoes. If you want to roll through with no shoes, feel free to work them through.
I think we need shoes to get inside. The no shoe rule doesn't apply.
Yeah, you need shoes to get into the building, but once you're in the room, you don't need shoes.
Local news. Well, it's not really any local news because this week it was very quiet.
I would just ask for more respect.
Of the pride flag at the U.S. Embassy.
That's the violence right there. Every time Cookie Monster sees some cookies.
Nothing happened. Let's talk about t-shirts. How much of your campaign budget is going to be spent on t-shirts?
Oh boy.
Before you think I'm about to judge people who collect political t-shirts, I want you to know I have a bunch of them, and I've honestly never wore them, except for that one time for the music video. Created millions of jobs, make the blind man see. But it got me thinking. So let's talk about the election t-shirt economy. This is C.A. Nuri. He's a political pundit or provocateur. It depends on who you ask.
When I was in the border, they used to call me glasses. You know, that's a run terror for the whole neighborhood. My God, glasses coming for you.
When you think about political t-shirts, what do you think? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
$40.
What do you mean?
The money that comes inside the t-shirt, wrapped up.
All right. I always hear that. I have never received money inside a t-shirt.
That's because you're not blessed. I'm a blessed individual.
Clearly, I need to go to church more often. But before you think this is just a Nassau thing.
You know, I have some things like this one. Well, they a bit tattered from Hurricane Dorian too, but
Barrington Mackey is from Freeport, and he's what some might call a collector of shirts.
Yeah, this the Pleasant Love People. This the one from her 2007 campaign. And then there's the golf shirt.
I see you have the fancy ones. These ain't just the regular political ones. These are the ones with like embroidery and stuff.
No, because I ain't no regular Joe Blow, bro. I don't wear the t-shirts. I just wear the golf shirt to see. You gotta give me something with color on it.
I understand.
Yeah.
Why do you think the t-shirt thing is so important for the election cycle? Like, why do people like shirts so much?
I mean, it's a way to identify with your team. It's more like a sports analogy. Yeah, I mean, it's just more about representing your team and letting everybody know whose side you want. You know, in the Bahamas, it's more about bragging rights than anything else.
Which I kind of agree with him on, except there are a bunch of people like me and others who don't really affiliate with any political party but still collect their paraphernalia. For example,
I got a couple of these. They were identified as bandanas. So, hi, my name is Marvincia. I'm an alchemist and a future HVAC technician. My husband's father, he called us one day and he was just like, hey, do you guys want some bandanas? And it seemed like a really random question to ask. And we were just like, okay, we could use some bandanas, sure. And I opened them up and I was just like, do you see these?
But like any good Bahamian, who has turned on free tanks?
It still has like practical function. I just don't want to be identified by any political party. I don't subscribe to politics like that.
And while Marvencia doesn't want to be associated with any particular political party, so she only wears the bandana indoors, some persons are hoping for the confusion.
See, I'm a blogger, so there's a need to have tools for the trade. So I collect all the shirts, so I'm able to work in the craft. So yes, I collect all the shirts.
I see you wearing a very fancy shirt. You wear one of them shirts where the design is on the inside of the collar. So clearly, you're not a man who doesn't have shirts. I was going to ask you, what is the impetus for collecting shirts?
Work. There's no need to collect a large amount. So you get one generic shirt that you can wear interchangeably according to which party is happening. Because you know, all of the political parties have parties, and they invite key people to the good food. So I when it's time to go to the rally and whatever it is, and if I have to blog on a particular political party, I just put on that version of shirt and go out. So all of my shirts are generic.
It's COVID time, and there aren't going to be as many rallies, and at least there shouldn't be, and theoretically there aren't supposed to be as many parties. Will the shirts still have the same, I guess, currency for you?
You got to understand there still be prayer breakfasts, the high-end events where you go in the hotel. And if you wear the right shirt and they recognize, you get to go in free and you eat the good food.
I don't think it's as effective anymore. A majority of people aren't so focused on the elections and who's coming to campaign and whatever. People are just trying to get by. That's everybody's sole focus right now.
So surely the need or the demand for political shirts must have gone down during this time. I mean, who would be a better person to ask than somebody who actually prints T-shirts?
My name is Darren Farrington, one of the owners of Screen Printing Company. And what we do is we print T-shirts.
How important do you think that the T-shirt culture is to the election cycle?
Oh man. It is, it goes hand in hand with the whole campaign package. You do your photo shoot, you have your posters and your placards and your billboards, and the next thing is your apparel. You have to have your quote unquote your potential supporters and your supporters outfitted in something to say, hey, I'm representing this guy. So it's huge.
Schin, my t-shirts, my distributor asked me what I'm doing with my shirts. Because I promise you, I order shirts every week.
Well, within Golden Gates, I think there are a little over 5,000 voters. So, I mean, with them, their kids, if you just consider the whole household, I'd say I'm probably just thinking about there because I'm thinking I'm going to get all the votes. So I probably need about 10,000 T-shirts.
Everywhere I go, every home I stop to, people like, I want one of your shirts. It's a collector's item, obviously.
You need at least, I would say conservatively, at least 20,000 T-shirts. So as you see them opening offices, as you see them doing little promotions for various different things, welcoming the candidates to the area and stuff like that, all of that is a part of the gear where T-shirts are actually ordered for.
Of course, I'll spend on T-shirts. Branding is important, but I think they'll be very minimal part of my budget because there's so many other things that are of importance that I want to do in the community.
But now for the 20,000 T-shirt question, is it a good thing for the local economy?
It's positive, but of course we could see a lot more because there's still a lot more stuff that are being printed outside of the country, where we have printers that can actually do the work inside the country. Not only myself, but we have a lot of competent printers on the island that can really knock out the jobs.
But back to the philosophy of it all. Surely with all the importance that political shirts hold, persons like Barrington and Freeport must be excited to pull out their collection of shirts to wear them this cycle.
Doubtful. Like a lot of people, I shifted away from the whole tribal party thing.
Right.
And so these pretty much, I collect these ones pretty much because they represent, to me personally, the happy times in Bahamian politics before I get into this whole gutter nonsense thing with, selfish politicians who really, they was always greedy, but at least the greedy ones used to look out for the people once upon a time. I just pretty much keep these because, this when I actually was motivated to be a part of the whole, party politics thing.
I think at one point they were effective because people were very proud to be repping different political parties. Like I can even say for my own parents, my mom supported the FNM and my dad supported the PLP. So it was kind of weird seeing them both like wearing the different party shirts at the same time. It doesn't hold any more weight because I think as more time progressed, people understood that parties are crap. Like you should vote for whomever makes your community the best.
I gotta thank
I
you.
couldn't, really get all grown up and all the rest of them things for a while, but hopefully they'll receive me at my first telephone interview enough for for you to reach out again and to bring me forward.
Why? If you like this content and want to see more like it, subscribe, like, comment, share, interact with the video. That helps, as well as there's a link to Ko-fi if you feel so inclined. Maybe you want to buy me a cup of coffee, or there's stuff inside the shop if you like digital products. Maybe you like a random book or some music. It's all there in the Ko-fi shop. The link is in the description. Just go ahead. Just go to the link. Thank you.